If I was going to build a 10k fitness studio again, here is exactly what I would do. And just for reassurance, I've done this twice before. I started off in Southampton working out at someone else's gym.
Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever training on your 90-day lifelong body transformation program.
And then I did exactly the same right here in Cardiff. So let me walk you through the 8 things I would do right now if I was going to open another studio. Okay, so these 8. The first one we're going to look at is your reason why. When we were working out at someone else's gym in Southampton, me and Holly had been with each other for like 5 years and we'd never actually been anywhere at all abroad. And we got to the point of, it was almost like we actually need to do something. We really want to go somewhere. We actually want to do something with our lives. And that is why knowing your why is going to help you grow your business so much more. We gave ourselves 6 months. We booked a flight or we booked a return ticket to Thailand, gave ourselves 6 months and had to figure out what we needed to do to get me off the gym floor. Because I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. She was working a full-time job. We were rarely seeing each other and we never had the chance to do anything. Fast forward now, when we had the studio in Cardiff, we also had Hank, but we were also traveling the world. We were able to go to the World Cup in Qatar. We could spend time with Hank, having days off. We were able to do the things that we wanted to do. So the first thing you really need to consider is the reason why. Why do you want to get up every single morning? Why do you want to train clients, work hard with staff, grow your fitness business, chase leads, make sales, keep clients happy, and everything that comes with it? What is the reason why for you? If you know that, everything else becomes so much easier to want to do. Which brings me on perfectly to number 2. So number 2 is your business model. Because if you get this wrong, it's going to cost you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. Now, the business model can make or break your fitness business. And what I mean by this is if your capacity in your session isn't right, either you're going to upset a lot of clients and it's not going to be worth their time, or you should be filling it more, charging more per session so you can give better quality sessions and you can actually earn more money from this. Now, I don't know the size of your setup, I don't know the size of your studio or even boot camp that you might have, but if you underestimate the capacity per session, the business model itself, it's going to cause you loads of issues. Now, what we had when we had FitHub 30 is we had rigs just like this. We had 8 of them dotted around the whole studio. And what we did that way is we put pairs. So every rig had 2 people to it, meaning we could get up to 16 people in a session. One person was working, one person was spotting and recovering. That way then we could do one major move and then we can move into accessory movements from there. But business model is a huge part of growing your fitness business. The third one is going to be the price. Now, like we said at the start, if you want to get to 10k months, then the price is going to be one of the biggest factors in getting us there. So let's dive into price a little bit more. Now we know your business model, we then need to move into pricing. Because we know, let's say we've got capacity for 12 in the session and we've got 10 spaces, or we've got 10 people coming in, it gives us extra space for those 2 more people. That is the business model, how many people we can have in your session. But now we need to justify that with the pricing. The pricing is going to make the biggest difference to how quickly you can grow this business. Because if you have a capacity for 12 people, for example, in a session, but you're only charging £30 a month, it's going to really stop you. It's going to really slow you down to get to that 10k. Because like we did when we first opened in Cardiff, we were charging £50 a month. Now, in order for us to get to 10k, we would need 200 clients in order to get to that point. And that's the problem. If we needed 200 clients, we were really going to struggle to get to that point. So pricing is going to be a massive factor. The other thing you need to consider in pricing as well is how much it costs you to, one, acquire a client. So like if we were going to go out and run some Facebook ads, for example, to purchase one client, it might cost you, I don't know, £50, £60, £70 in ad spend to buy that client. You then need to service that client. And when we talk about servicing clients, it's how much it costs their snippet towards insurance, their gas, the electric, the MyZone, the music license, keeping the gym clean, how much it costs you to have PTs to run those sessions. So don't pick a number for your price. Try and really calculate the price. It's going to be one of the hardest parts of this whole equation, getting your price right. But once you understand your pricing and how much everything costs, it's so much easier then to put your pricing in. The thing I haven't mentioned though is going to be tax, VAT and profit. So you might charge, I don't know, £50, because £50 sounds like a great number. But when you take, let's say, 20% off £50 for your VAT, that's £10 gone straight away. You take tax, obviously you're not going to be 20% tax on that, that might be like 10%. So you've taken £10 off already, that takes it from 50 to 40, an extra 10% then, so that's going to be £4, so that's going to take us to £36. You've got the Stripe fee, which is 1.2 and 20 pence, so that's going to bring it down a little bit more. So that £50 that you're charging is really dwindling down before it even hits your bank account. So pricing, it's one of the major factors to growing your business, which leads us perfectly on to the next step, and that is how many clients. Now the next part in this equation, getting you to that 10k mark, is the number of clients that you need. And it kind of is a sliding scale, because once you know how much you're charging, that's then going to equate to roughly how many clients you need to get to that point. So for example, you're going to charge, let's say, £50 a month here at the bottom. Now, in order to get to £50 a month and to get to 10k, that means you need 200 clients. And as we keep going up, let's say you then charge £75 a month. £75 a month is 133 clients. And we can keep going. 100 is 100 clients. And then one more, let's say 120 is 83 clients. So as you can see, as you start charging more per month, you actually need less clients to get you to that 10k mark. So let's just add two more. Let's say you charge £150 a month. That's going to be 66. And then the last one, the biggest one, is £200 a month, which of course is only going to be 50 clients. Now at this point, you can start seeing how much work you need to do, to how much you want to charge, to how quickly you're going to grow your business. The perfect example here is if you only charge £50 a month, you need to manage and look after 200 people. Now that is going to be a lot of clients coming and clients going. Whereas if you charge, let's say, £150 a month, you only need to manage 66 people, which again is a huge difference, massive difference in how many people you need in order to get you to the magic number of 10k. So we've talked about the business model, how many people per session. We've talked about pricing, how many people or how much you're going to charge. And now we're talking about how many people you actually need to get you to that 10k month. And this really is how easy and as simple as it is to get to 10k, that magic 10k business. Of course, it's not going to be that easy, okay? It's not just a case of you need this many clients and this amount a month to get to 10k. What you're always going to have is people turning up, like Hank running to the front door because someone's knocking, okay? You're always going to have something called churn. This is where clients want to leave, whether it's because it's the specific time of the year, maybe their time with you has just come to an end, maybe you've upset or a coach has upset the client. There's going to be loads of reasons, and churn is one of the biggest factors that we need to include in your business in order to get you to 10k. Which then brings us on to number 5, which is sales. Okay, so growing your fitness business really isn't that straightforward, okay? One of the major issues is going to be churn. Now, when it comes to churn, we then also need to make sure that we have enough sales coming in. Now, what I mean by that is every time a client leaves, we need to replace them, and we need a net of each client. So let's say 2 clients leave 1 week, and we need to grow by a net of 2 clients each week. So if 2 clients leave, then we need to add 4 clients in total, which gives us a net of 2. So basically, if 1 client leaves, we have to replace them, but we have to replace them plus extra people on board. So let's say you want to grow your business and you say, on average, we lose, let's say, 3 clients every single week. Now we know that we lose 3 clients every week. That is just the standard for your fitness business. Now, if you want to keep growing and you want to add, let's say, 2 every single week from there, but we also know we're losing 3 every single week, then we need to sign 5 clients up every single week to make sure we are growing that fitness business. So now you know you need to add, or you need to sign up 5, which is a net growth of 2 clients every single week. You know, over the course of the year, that's just over 100 brand new clients into your fitness business, which means you've grown by 100 clients. And finally, we've got number 6, which is leads. Now, in order to generate the sales that we need a certain number of leads to get us to that point. Okay, so we've talked about your 10K business. We've talked about how many sign-ups you need to make, how many new clients that we need to bring in, the pricing. We've talked about all 6 stages. But the last stage is going to be how many leads that you need to generate. We just talked about the net growth each week. We need to grow by 2 clients or 3 clients every single week. Now, in order to grow by that amount, we need to have a certain number of leads coming in. That's obviously where we specialize at FitPro. Lead gen is generating you these leads. But the biggest factor is how many leads that you need. And what we set to a lot of clients is simple. You can't relax during the week until you've hit X number of leads. So let's say you need to make 5 sales every single week. Now, in order to grow by 5 sales every single week, let's say you need 10 leads for each sign up. That's 10%, a nice average base to work on there. So for 1 sign up, you need to generate 10 leads, which means if you need to make 5 sales in a week, you need to generate 50 leads. That number now becomes super ingrained in your mind. You know how many leads you need to generate every single day of the week in order to hit your target. Yes, some weeks you might generate less leads and make actually more sales. Other weeks you'll generate even more leads and make terrible sales. But if you know this average, if you know on average you need to generate 10 leads to make 1 sign up, the growth then becomes really predictable. That is all 6 covered, okay? We know exactly what we need to do to get your business to 10K. But 10K is kind of like this magical number. But unfortunately, from experience and working with so many clients, 10K is a load of rubbish. The magic number really starts at 15. When you start getting your fitness business to 15K a month, everything truly changes. And that's what we're going to start talking about in next week's video, okay? Why 15K is that magic number. Why when you get to 15K, you start becoming more profitable. You can start paying yourself a lot more money. And most of all, just what I wanted is you start having more freedom. Freedom for me is everything. Being able to do what I want, when I want. And that starts happening when you get to 15K. So be sure to check out next week's video where we dive into the magic around 15K and what freedom really does give you when you get your fitness business in the right place.